When you talk about elite players since the turn of century, both the names of Kaka and Ronaldinho always come up. And you can see why. Kaka won the Ballon d'Or in 2007. Ronaldinho won it in 2005. Both Kaka and Ronaldinho are one-time Champions League winner and both were part of the Brazil team that won the 2002 FIFA World Cup. One player in that tournament was more prominent than the other, but that was down to age rather than skill. But the question that I have in my head is, who was a better player? So, welcome to UW Football, and today we will be talking about who was better, Kaka or Ronaldinho? First, let's get the time frame of their primes. Ronaldinho's peak was between 2003 till 2007, whereas Kaka's was between 2005 till 2009. But before we get into their primes, let's first talk about where it all began for them. At the age of 19, Kaka made his senior debut with Sao Paulo. He scored 17 times from midfield in his first year as a professional. In his second season, he went up a gear as he scored 22 times. That's why he was picked in the star-studded Brazilian team that won the FIFA World Cup. Another 6 months on the books of Sao Paulo, and then AC Milan came in with a €9 million bid, and now Kaka was destined for San Siro. In his first season at AC Milan, Kaka contributed to a respectable 21 goals and he won his first major league title, Serie A. Second season wasn't as glamorous for Kaka. He lost the Champions League final and only found the net 9 times. But he did become an assist machine as he provided 20 goals for his teammates. Now, let's talk about Ronaldinho. Now, he did not have a fast start like Kaka. He was only finding success in the State League in his first few years. But his third season with Gremio upped any season Kaka ever had. Hell, Ronaldinho himself never repeated this feat. He scored 41 times in just 49 games. Now the reason why this season isn't spoken of much is because 22 of those goals were in the State League. But Ronaldinho did manage 14 in the Serie A, which was very good for a 21-year-old. So, PSG bought him for €5 million. That season he finished 4th in Liga and contributed to 20 goals, which again is very good for your first year abroad. Ronaldinho in his second season kept up, but PSG did not. They finished 11th. Ronaldinho, now with his 22 goal contributions in the 02-03 season, was also now a World Cup winner, and everyone could see that he had outgrown the club. Manchester United were linked with him as they wanted him to come in and replace David Beckham, but Ronaldinho instead opted for Barcelona, and we all sort of know why. Manchester, Barcelona. Style of play and impact is something that we will discuss a bit later. Right now, we'll talk as to how these two fared up on paper. Now on paper, Kaka's number in the 2005-06 season were just ridiculous. 31 goal contributions, 5 goals in the Champions League in a side that had a below par season. But if you take a deeper look, Kaka only scored once in the knockout rounds, and the only top Italian side that he scored against was Juventus. His performances in the 2006-07 season were much better against a bigger size. His overall numbers were still ridiculous as he contributed to 39 goals. But in this season, he scored thrice against Manchester United in the Champions League semi-finals. He scored against Bayern Munich and had an outrageous assist for Hernan Crespo in the final that AC Milan won. He was the best player in that tournament by a mile. Domestically, things did not go so well for AC Milan. They kinda went off the rails as they finished 4th in the league, a league without Juventus by the way. But Kaka was still not being stopped. He scored 8 times and assisted 7. These are good numbers but slightly below for someone of Kaka's level. Unlike the previous year, this time around, Kaka had big performances against the likes of Roma, Lazio and Inter. The season after that, the 2007-08 season, Kaka was not messing about in the Serie A. Shevchenko, well, he was gone. But that did not slow down Kaka. He scored 15 times and assisted 11. He scored against Napoli, against Fiorentina, against Inter, a brace against Lazio. He carried Milan to that 5th spot. Without him, they'd be like 11. The 08-09 season was his last one with AC Milan during his first stint there, and as it happened to be, it was his last one of his prime. Kaka was teammates with Ronaldinho in this one, by the way, but there was only one superstar at the time, and that was Kaka. Kaka that season missed 9 games. AC Milan lost 4 of them, drew both legs against Werder Bremen and got knocked out in the round of 32 of the UEFA Cup. Once again, he single-handedly carried AC Milan domestically. He ended the season very strongly with 5 assists and 5 goals in his last 6 Serie A games. In these 4 years, the only major honor that Kaka won was the Champions League. Hardly his fault. AC Milan were the ones that were completely underperforming, so his contribution of over 130 goals is more impressive than you think. He was that good that he won the Ballon d'Or in 2007 over Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Now let's talk about Ronaldinho. He arrived in Barcelona for 30 million euros, huge fee at the time. He contributed to 33 goals in his first season, but like Kaka, these were slightly bloated numbers. He hit a blank against Villarreal and Valencia, top teams in Spain at the time, and his most notable contribution that season against any top side was an assist against Real Madrid. Now overall in his second season, Ronaldinho's numbers went down, but he stepped up when it mattered the most. He scored a brace away to Chelsea. Barcelona lost, but that was because their defense let in 4 goals. Nothing to do with Ronaldinho. He scored against La Liga holders Valencia, both home and away, and did the same against Real Madrid. This season, the 2004-05 season, is when Ronaldinho won his first league title, La Liga, and he carried on this momentum over to the 2005-06 season, arguably his best season in his entire career. He contributed to 50 goals in 45 games. He scored a brace away to Real Madrid. He taught Cannavaro a new one in that game. He was so good on the night that Real Madrid fans stood up and applauded him. In the last 24 La Liga games that Ronaldinho played in that season, Ronaldinho scored or assisted in 21 of them. He also assisted the goal that knocked AC Milan from the UEFA Champions League. Ronaldinho that year won another La Liga title. He won the Supercopa and topped it all off by winning the UEFA Champions League. Now over to his last year of his prime, he scored 21 times that year, which is very impressive. He assisted 14 times, that is also very impressive, but Barcelona won absolutely nothing. They lost the Club World Cup, they lost the La Liga to Real Madrid, they got knocked out in the round of 16, and Ronaldinho had not many jaw-dropping moments. Statistically, he was still very good, but his impact was slightly drying off. In his 4 years at the top, Ronaldinho contributed to over 140 goals, and also like Kaka, won the Champions League and Ballon d'Or. But unlike Kaka, Ronaldinho also won 2 league titles, one of which was solely down to him. Stylistically, these two were very different. Kaka's dribbling was more about a sudden change of pace. Kaka used to glide past people with ease. His eye for a pass was ridiculous. He would find spaces that others wouldn't even see. And on top of that, he had the skill to execute the pass. His shooting is slightly underappreciated part of his game. This isn't talked about as much. He was an accurate shooter, and his accuracy was so good that distance was never a problem for him. Lastly, let's talk about his link-up play with Inzaghi and especially with Shevchenko, which is remembered to this very day. Ronaldinho, he was very different to Kaka. He didn't need to use that sudden burst of pace. He would drop players with the ball at his feet. His dribbling hasn't been matched by anyone, even not by Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo. The feints, the rabonas, the no-look sombreros, and especially the elasticos, these were some of the skills that Ronaldinho had mastered, and unlike Kaka, Ronaldinho didn't have to find a space to execute a pass into. He would create a space all on his own. Now, post their prime is a difficult topic to talk about. Kaka made a 60 million euros transfer to Real Madrid. He was playing at the biggest club in the world. He carried Brazil to the 2009 Confederations Cup victory. He went back to AC Milan and scored his 100th goal for the club and then moved over to newly founded Orlando City. Now, except for the Confederations Cup, Kaka did not light up in any of these places, or at least he was an all-star in MLS. Ronaldinho, like Kaka, also had a change of clubs. He moved over to AC Milan for a slightly lesser fee of 25 million euros. He wasn't impressive there, that's why he left for Brazil after just 2.5 years. In his first 3 years back in Brazil with Fluminense and Atletico Minero was the last time Ronaldinho was any good. He won the Copa Libertadores and provided various different skills for us to enjoy. Post 2013, Ronaldinho was just bad. He was overweight, he was slow, and he looked like he didn't want to be there. Now, let's answer the question, overall, who was better? Ronaldinho for me, he edges it. Even though on paper it was pretty much even, Ronaldinho won more trophies, he was slightly more effective, and had a skill set that was slightly more enjoyable to watch than that of Kaka. If you agree with me, then tell me down in the comments. Anyways, have a good day and I will see you soon.